Welcome to the Coffee with Phil and Jim podcast, where two guys drink coffee and talk about stuff. And now your hosts, Phil and Jimmy Nick.
In 3, 2, 1. Hey listeners, Phil here with the Coffee with Phil and Jim podcast. We're in the studio today, and I'm here with my amazing co-host,
Jimmy Nick.
And we are back in the studio from a little bit of time out. Things have been busy. We had camp, all kinds of stuff.
Like it's summer, man. You gotta go out and do your thing, it's summertime.
Yeah, so, yeah, it's been pretty crazy. I've been out of town. Jimmy Nick has
been hanging around.
Just
hanging around out here, man.
And
it's all cool, man.
That's right.
It's all cool.
On KHBC 104.7 Christian Rock. But we've been out, so we got a lot to talk about, a lot to kind of catch up with. Before we do, I want to remind everybody to please search, subscribe, and share. We're on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spreaker app. We're working on going to other platforms. Also, if you want to join a conversation, start a conversation, or just tell us, look, y'all are dead wrong, you can email us at coffeewithphilandjim@gmail.com or direct message us through Facebook or Instagram.
That sounds good. There's a lot of places where they can find us.
That's right.
Now, you might also find me down on the corner down there, down at the Walmart with looking for handouts. So if you see me standing on the corner, say, hey, Jim.
The Walmart. I like how you put the Walmart.
I'm going to have to put my dog down there with it, but I don't even have one.
you got like a little like fake dog, little stuffed animal out there on a leash.
It's sympathy. It's all sympathy,
Oh, Buster, my dog likes hamburgers. You got to sign out. So, anyways, we have a lot to talk about, a lot to catch up. I do want to. I think I was just telling you here a second ago about our video. Matter of fact, I'm gonna look that up. I posted a video on our Facebook. I get ran over. Oops, sorry. That was another video. I posted a video about something that's kind of been going viral, been real trendy for our kids that parents need to watch out. It's called a gotcha community. And we've already had 12 shares. We've had 481 views.
Whoa.
And we've reached 909 people.
Wow. Just
with that video. So it's just kind of attention to parents and grandparents and guardians about something that's coming up.
A lot of bad stuff out there, and they need to be informed as to what's going on so they'll have some idea how to handle it.
Right.
And I think the youth need to be informed on it too, so they can try to make right decisions, but they're not going to make those decisions unless we give them the right information.
Right.
And of course, their friends aren't going to give them the right information because they're right in the middle of it with them. So
yeah,
it's up to us to get the word out there and get them to understand what can happen to them, and then it's up to them to either do it or not. So
yeah, I think we can also hold some accountability to that because they're still children,
right.
In a way too, and to be involved. We're actually going to in the fall. We're going to host a forum about technology and that type of stuff for pastors, youth pastors, and we're going to invite some folks up here and do kind of a forum. So we'll do kind of we'll have time for discussion, but basically all we want to do is inform people.
Get the information.
What's out there and what to look for and how to look for it, and then have a discussion on how we talk about it.
Because it's a dangerous world out there, and it can get you in a hurry, especially if you don't know what you're doing, and most kids don't. They don't know what they're really getting into there. It may look good, may sound good, but it can be deadly.
Well, that's a good point, because check this out. A couple of days ago, I have a Snapchat account just to kind of keep on top of things. I don't ever really use it. But the other morning, if you go on the Snapchat app and you swipe one direction, it's got like a bunch of news stuff and things like that. But here's some of the headlines that were in the news with pictures and and links for videos. Here was it. Love, don't judge. I had a baby with my classmate's dad. Look at that right there, that picture.
Okay.
She's 24, he's 70.
Okay.
So that's what kids are watching. David Dobrik, he's a teen celebrity, dishes on losing his virginity.
Okay.
So talking about that. LGBT fans outraged at BTS about this, and BTS is a K-pop band type deal. Here's another one. This is a sign you're bad in bed. I like this one. You can now invest in legal cannabis with just $5.
Oh, I tell you, it's rough out there.
Get your card. But see, that's what type of stuff that these kids are looking at, because the Snapchat, the draw to that is it's got the fun little filters for your pictures and things like that, and the communication, the ways you can do that, the cute Bitmoji avatar deals that you can link. There's a lot of stuff to that, but there's so much more negative to that, and what happens is they see that type of stuff and they get desensitized.
Yeah.
And then when you go, oh, did you see this? Oh, yeah, I saw that.
But it doesn't have any effect on them.
Right.
Or not the correct effect on them.
Yeah.
Yeah, it goes the other way. They start buying into that's normal and it's okay, and it really isn't. But they're being told that anyway.
Yeah.
By society in general. I know that for me, I've been thinking about things here, especially the last couple of days, is our society, and we seem to be having some troubles, people with their relationships and everything, especially when it comes down to this society we live in.
Mm-hmm.
We claim we believe in God, but do we really believe in God? I mean, it seems to be that's all it is as a belief, but it's not the realization that the reality of God is real.
Right.
It's just a belief system. I've heard that so many times in my life. It's a belief system. It's just an idea. It's something that, you just believe in, and you separate that from, what's real. Mm-hmm. It's kind of like so I wonder how many people out there that really show up on a Sunday morning coming there with the idea that this is absolutely real. This isn't, it's just like this table here. This table's real. And, this is real. This isn't just something you believe in. It's not just a belief. It's not just a faith. It's the actual, that's it.
Right.
And most people take it as, well, I can take it or leave it. I can believe it or not believe it. But it doesn't change the reality of it's real.
Yeah.
But people look at it, well, I can believe, or I don't have to believe, or I don't have to do this, or I don't have to do that. What difference it make? Because people really don't believe it. I think most people don't believe. I know Pew said, 48% don't believe in they say they believe in God, but they don't believe in the God of the Bible. They just believe in a power, a force out there.
Yeah, higher power. There's something
higher power,
out
some
there
kind of force out there
in
or
the
something.
universe.
But they don't believe in the God of the Bible.
Right.
So I wonder how many people in church nowadays actually do believe in the God of the Bible.
That's a good question.
Because otherwise, they'd obey him. And they're not obeying him.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because if you look at it, and we've toned it down, you got to admit churches have toned it down to where, we don't want to talk about his wrath. We don't talk about what's going to happen in the end. But in our disobedience, we don't take him seriously. Mm-hmm. We really don't take him seriously. And that's what's been bothering me here is, the fact that we've kind of put God over here to the side, and we want him when we want him, and we don't want him when we don't want him. We just call him in when things get rough to come in and rescue us.
Right.
But otherwise, we really don't want nothing to do with him. If we did, we'd be on our face before him every day. You wouldn't come down to the church house on Sunday and throw a couple songs out there and hear a message and go home. Everybody be on their face up there, praising him, thanking him, Come on, This is real, but we treat it like it's not. It's just something I choose to believe it. Well, It doesn't matter if you choose to believe it or not. It's real. There's nowhere in the Bible says we got to believe in God. He says, in the beginning, God, that was it. You believe it. That's the truth. Now, we're asked to believe in Jesus Christ as to who he is. But we're not asked to believe in God, because even back in those days, even when Paul and them went into different countries, they believed in a God. They knew there was a God. But we've got it down in this society where we're teaching them every day in school up here there is no God. You know, it's all evolution. There's no God. But that's what they're being taught in school. And so most of the societies learn, well, there is no God, so why worry about it?
Well, that's been taught for so long. Just using examples of schools, to where now that's the family dynamic. Now it gets into the church dynamic, and so you do have a watered down.
It's generational.
Yeah.
It's become generational. I'd say, in the last 50 years, it's a generational thing. It's what they've been teaching in school. They were teaching it when I came out of school. They were teaching it then.
Yeah.
But they weren't. They were just teaching it as a theory. But now it's considered a fact. And so these kids are growing up, they don't believe there's a God. And if they do, it's just they're looking for some spiritual, feeling or something, some big deal going on here. But it's,
Yeah.
They're not looking for Jesus Christ. They're looking for something, as they say, spiritual,
Yeah, spiritual
But it has nothing to do with Jesus Christ, and it has nothing to do with God, actually. Mm-hmm. They're just looking for some kind of, spiritual high, or where they feel that they're being spiritual or whatever.
Well, like you say, it's a feeling.
It's a feeling. It's nothing more than a feeling.
I just feel that, God is in my presence right now. Okay. The feeling, it's like a feeling, but nobody does anything with that feeling too.
But then you say, what? Does he come and go? I mean, to me, I understand he's supposed to be here 24/7. Mm-hmm. So does he come and go on you? That's what I want to know.
Some people believe that, I think.
But I mean, we're so messed up in this society. What is it? Religion. I mean, what is religion anyway?
Right.
I mean, what is it? I mean, it doesn't make no sense.
No.
There is a God. He's real. Believe it. Period. Well, that's your religious beliefs. No, that's the truth. That's just plain truth.
Yeah.
This ain't got nothing to do with no belief system. Is the moon there? Sure. Is the sun there? Sure. Is God here? Sure. He exists. Because nothing else would exist apart from him. Well, how can you prove it? Look around you. He says in Romans 1, the proof's there.
Right.
Now we just make a choice whether to believe it or not.
Do you think there's a good gob of people out there that don't believe because of believers, because they're not living that life?
I'm sure they're looking at us and say, "Well, I don't see any change in that person. I don't see any difference in them. Their conversation hasn't changed, and where they go doesn't change." Mm-hmm. I know when I grew up outside of church, so I wasn't church growing up, but I knew people that were. And the thing about it, when I was at a beer joint on a Friday or Saturday night, them same people were in there with me, but yet they were in church on that Sunday.
Right.
So, you didn't see any difference between them except they went to, quote, church.
Mm-hmm. Church was something they went to on occasion.
Well, they'd been going all their lives. Is the whole point. They grew up in it, but they weren't living it.
Do you think also there are people that live in a church culture or grow up in church for so long, but they still really don't know what they believe?
Oh yeah, that's true. I mean, they just part of the system. They got caught into the system, and they've really never stopped and thought, what do I truly believe here?
Right.
They've never taken account of it. Well, this is what I'm supposed to believe, so I'll just go along with it. And they never really stopped. They probably even made a confession of faith. Mm-hmm. In a lot of cases, they haven't. They've been there. They told them to get baptized, I got baptized.
Yeah.
So I made them a member, and they've been showing up every Sunday, and that's been about it. And that's their whole relationship with Jesus Christ.
But you got to add in, too, that their baptism was very special because they were baptized in a creek, or they were baptized by this person or whatever. And not understanding the full effect that it's a step of obedience from salvation, so it becomes, and then you make baptism. Now, baptism, I don't want to say it's not a big thing, because it is, because it's a way that we covenant together with that church, and this covenant that we have with that church family, our church body, is serious to Jesus, right?
Right.
So he has some very high expectations for us. he has a responsibility for us. We have Matthew 28, 18, 19, 20, we have that. We have the Great Commission. We have the idea that he tells us we are all ministers of reconciliation and we're all ambassadors. And these things that he tells us to do, and we're commanded to do, and our identity is supposed to be in, is to minister to people.
Right.
And so you have all these other churches that have these great big programs. And I'm not saying there's nothing wrong with really programs, but when those programs become the ministry, as far as it's based upon all that, and not even that the people.
No, I always hear that, but I'm just going to say straight out, there's something wrong with them programs. I'd say there's a whole lot wrong with them programs. For one thing, it gets them off the main thing.
True. Yeah.
So if you got there's something wrong with them programs. and let's just say, let's get out of it. Yeah, they're wrong. The programs stink. They get you off the main point, which is Jesus Christ, and it gets you off of the whole point of go out and make disciples. Go out and disciple. No making disciples.
There you go.
We disciple, we don't make disciples. You don't make a disciple.
Matete usate, right?
Yeah, that's right. We Metamucil, which is what you said there. There's exactly what we did.
Metamucil.
But
that stuff works, by the way.
I know it does. But anyway, like I said there, it's not, I don't know. We're a mess. I know that.
Yeah, well.
But those programs do get in the way. They do. Because it becomes all about the programs. Mm-hmm. So when the programs become your main mission there and it's nothing else, it may be good, but if you're doing the other thing, if you're doing the right thing, if you're discipling and you're going out and evangelizing, you won't have no need for them programs.
Yeah.
That's the whole point.
Right.
Well, start meeting day to day and house to house, and that gets rid of all them silly programs they've come up with.
I wasn't going to say programs were bad. I was just going to leave that to the listener, but yes, I mean, eventually we were going to probably get there.
Well, I'm already there.
But you're just jumping the gun.
Yeah, I know it. What can I say?
That's okay. It's okay. No, you're right. It does. The idea of programs and what those entail. People focus more on a bus or on a curriculum or on that stuff rather than the people. And that's American Christianity for you, really.
Yeah.
I mean, that's all. You go to another country, it's not like that.
Well, like I said, our belief in God, and I think a lot of it comes down to if you look around America, especially America, I can't speak for any other country, just this one. Mm-hmm. But you look at the Christian movement in America, it's basically dead.
Yeah.
And it's basically just shot to hell. It's a mess.
Yeah, no, you're right.
Mess. It's a total mess. There's no way to get around it. It is what it is. Mm-hmm. But a lot of it I actually believe that most people in this country have no fear of God, period.
Right.
They have no fear of him. They have no idea. They don't care. They don't care what he does, and they don't care. It's a lot of people coming into church. They have no fear of God, mm-hmm. even though your very life is in his hands, and someday you're going to stand before him. But they don't care because one reason, they've been told there is no God.
Right.
And so, you got so many people out there that believe in so many different things, but they refuse to believe in the one true thing.
I would go even a step further and say it's not just that. It's also, even in the belief system of believers in America, that we're like the Church of Laodicea and we have no need because we have wealth, we have riches, we have all this stuff. So we can go all through the day, the week, the month, the year, and not really need him because we have these securities, we have these things, and so we don't have a need for God too. So yeah, I agree with what you say on that end too. And then I also think there's also this. I mean, obviously there's a lot, but there's another side of that where there's these people in these churches and these churches as wholes are going, oh, we got this, and I think they intertwines in the programs because They say, oh, we got this big, wonderful, awesome program here, pumping all this cash in it, and you're not really having to sacrifice anything. You're really not having to. You can live off a church of volunteerism and not servants, which we're supposed to be servants.
Right.
We're supposed to be doulos, and so I think that even goes into that program mentality as well. And here at Highland, we don't have programs. We just do stuff.
Just do stuff.
Yeah, we just do stuff. I mean, it's not necessarily a program. And there are things that we use around here that you could probably consider a program. But here's the thing. Whatever that is, whether if it's a curriculum or a thing we do like a Friday morning Senior Saints Bible study or something like that, that's not even a program.
Right.
And so we don't go through necessarily a book and go, okay, all right, here's A, and then here's your subheadings. B, there's your subheadings. What you're doing in that, using the Senior Saints as a illustration, you're getting down to truth, you're talking, you're building a relationship. There's a lot more to that in that time frame, and sometimes that time frame changes.
Right.
Sometimes things happen, and a program can't work that way.
Yeah, a program has kind of a final deal to it. This here's a constantly going on relationship between us old timers and everything. We show up on Fridays and we enjoy each other's company. And we also learn during that period of time. And that's what it's about. And we also know what the other person's thinking and everything. And where they're at in their relationship with the Lord and everything. And that's the same way I believe that's what's happening in our Sunday school now, especially with the seniors, since we've changed that up.
Yeah.
That has worked really great from the times I've been in there,
I think y'all are the best part of the ministry right now going. I mean, I think there's little things here and there, but with everybody else, but with y'all, I think y'all are having a great time. You're learning, growing, going closer together. And just that way that platform is put together now.
Well, it should work. It should work that way.
Yeah.
And it should work that way not only in our church, but in other churches. But,
Right.
You got to be willing to step out there on that wire without a net and trust God for it.
Ooh, well, that's hard to do when you don't really know him and you don't know.
They take the net away, but he's going to catch you if you fall. So
Yeah.
And sometimes maybe you just have to fall. It's kind of a correction type thing.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, true. Maybe he wants you to fall. Yeah.
Yeah, so there can be some correction in what you're trying to do there.
Yeah.
He works in all them different ways. It just isn't. It's all good. I mean, sometimes he'll use something evil against you.
Yeah.
Like what he did to the 10 tribes of Israel.
Mm-hmm.
And those were the same people, the very same people that he sent Jonah in to have them repent.
Yeah.
And those people, the same people, then within 100 years after they had taken him into captivity, Nineveh was destroyed. Mm-hmm. So he used those people against his own people to get the message out. Things have to change. And if they're not going to change in the church, then what do you bring? It's our job to bring people to Christ, or the gospel, to present the gospel to people. That's what we're supposed to do.
Yeah.
And if that's that, what are we going to bring them into? Bring them into sitting in a pew to do what we've all been doing forever? I mean, that's all they're going to get out of this? Is that all they're going to look forward to?
And you're just multiplying that effort.
Yeah. So what do you got? You end up with a bunch of pew setters, and you sit around, well, nobody wants to do nothing. Well, because the last group in there, that's all they did was sit in the pews.
That's right.
So, you wait for them to come through the door, the preacher saves them, and then they go sit in the pew. That's the way it works. That's the way it works in this country.
Yeah.
So if you go out and evangelize, then you're going to have to disciple them, and then you get that started, and it continues on and on and on, then you don't have a bunch of pew setters.
Right.
You got people out there actually going out and going forward and taking the gospel out.
And, doing the work.
Doing the work of Christ, which is what we're here for.
Right.
We're not here to just come sit in a pew. Although I tell you, our pews aren't bad. I got to admit,
it's got a little cushion to it.
I got a couple places I like sitting there. A couple different places.
You put your pillow there, your Kleenex box.
Everything's good. Yeah. But it's the whole point is, if it's Christ's church and if Christ should run it, we should get out of the way and let him run his own church, find out what he wants to do and do it. I mean, he's already told us what we should do. But individually, we need to find out exactly where I need to go and what I need to do. But you ain't going to do it sitting down either.
Right.
You got to be moving in this, and you got to be, learning. One thing is learn this stuff and take it and use it. Mm-hmm.
What's that saying that goes around here? You can't steer a parked car.
Well, you can, but it don't go nowhere.
It's like a little kid. Pretend you're Steve McQueen or something.
Anyway,
driving the General Lee or something,
That's true.
Dukes, but yeah, I mean, that's what it comes down to, and you're right. A lot of people don't know But that comes down to your church culture too. Is if you don't have that place to plug into like that, and it takes time. It takes a lot of effort. It takes a lot of hard work, and a lot of following the Spirit, and what God really wants for you and your church, and that. And
but I think there's a lot of unbelief in there. I really do.
Yeah.
I really think there's a whole lot, and it's in the church. There's a lot of unbelief in there. I mean, they took a survey and they said, I forgot how many of them that attend church on a weekly basis don't even believe Jesus is the Christ.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
And it's lunacy. Why would you do that?
Yeah.
I'd rather be on the golf course or something than going to church on Sunday if that was the case. There's better things I could be doing.
And God's become, I can either choose to believe in Him or I can choose not to believe in Him. And it's not an option.
Yeah.
Like I said,
we sure make it an option, don't we?
There's nothing in there in that book I read where God tried to get you to believe in Him. The only one I'm asked to believe was to repent and believe in Christ, who He is.
Right.
Because that's where my faith that's in Christ. When Abraham left, he believed God. He didn't believe it was believe God for where he was going and what he said. It wasn't, I believe in you, God. He already believed in God. Everybody then, even though he was a pagan, is worshiping a God. They know there's a God. Even pagans knew it. They just had the wrong God.
Right.
And same thing with Paul when he went to Athens. They had all them gods up there. But now, no, there ain't no God. Now there's a God. Sure, there's a God. It's crazy. Crazy world.
But crazy people.
Crazy people. Crazy America is what it is. And you look around and see, and people weren't looking and say, well, what happened to them politicians and all that stuff? Well, them politicians in the last 50 years have been taught what these kids have been taught today in school, and that's what you're getting the result of right there. So this just didn't happen overnight. Yeah. What they teach in the grade schools and in the high schools, they're teaching double in college. And so that's exactly what you're going to get out of this. Yeah,
and it just keeps ramping up every...
You send your kid off to school, you don't know what you're going to get back when it's over with, especially send them to college. So, but you want to get them an education.
Right. You want to get them an education, but at the same time, if they're not grounded and believe what they should believe before they go in, man, they'll really be taken easily. And there's elementary kids that are getting taken away easily because that's what their life is. And it's plugged into this world.
In our society, like I said, it has no fear of God. It just doesn't have it. None of it.
No.
And then goes people in the church. They have no fear of God.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like I said, somebody's been saying around ours that needs Jesus knocking at the door. I think we better let him in. If he's not in already, we better let him in.
Yeah.
Because this won't work apart from him.
But in that same verse, isn't it, where he says he's knocking at the door if you hear him.
Right.
And I think there's a lot of believers just not hearing him.
Just not hearing him.
Yeah. They're just not connected.
Well, he's not going to knock forever.
And we have distractions like crazy. This world is full of distractions.
Yeah, but to me, distractions are excuses.
Oh, yeah. Well, yeah.
It's just an excuse, Like I said, when somebody says to you, well, I've been meaning to do that, but I just hadn't found the time. Well, that means is I don't want to do that. I'll do what I want to do, because we will find time for things we want to do.
That's right. You will do what you want to do. Yeah.
But otherwise, you make an excuse. And so, that golf game was on or that football game was on. I just had to watch that. Nah, it's your priorities.
Yeah.
Your priorities Christ isn't most people's priority.
You just cussed again on the podcast. You said priorities.
Priorities.
Gosh.
I know. There's no. Gosh. Our priorities all messed up. It's crazy. It's just like a guy saying, well, when let's talk about sports on Sunday. These kids having sports ball games on Sunday now, It's like, well, what are you doing when you go let him play the sport, or don't you? Well, no, you send him to church and you go to church with him, because then he sees what the priority in life is. If you tell him he can blow God off for a baseball game, then what does that say?
Yeah, well, it shows his importance in your life.
Right.
So it's no big deal.
That ball game's more important than the Lord. But we do that all the time.
Oh yeah.
At my old church, they changed the time for Sunday worship just simply because everybody get home by 11:30 by the time the football games come on Sundays.
Yeah.
Yeah, we didn't want to miss football. We give God a couple hours, but we're gonna do it a little bit earlier. Instead of getting out there at noon, we're gonna get out there by 11:30. Gonna get them home.
Which nobody's really paying attention. They're thinking, oh, okay, well,
I got money on that game.
I forgot to get bean dip. Oh, we gotta stop getting bean dip on the way home.
The thing about what they're gonna do.
Yeah.
And then most of them didn't come back Sunday night anyway, so that wasn't no big deal because it's a doubleheader anyway. And now they got Sunday night football, so.
Yeah. I tell you, the other day, it's been a few Sundays ago, we went long. We went like about 2 hours. I think it was 2 hours and.
Oh, you're talking about that
40
day we went way past 12?
Yeah, we went way past.
Yeah, because usually we're done around about 11:30.
Yeah, usually 11:30 because we started at 10.
Went about 12:30 when I got home or so.
Yeah,
or later. It was a long one. It went long.
Yeah, it was really long.
Yeah.
But here's the deal, and I asked a few people just here and there about it, and the consensus of those that I've asked was, we really didn't even notice, because that was the day that, man, people were worshiping, people were praising, people were connected. I mean, you always have those few losers out in the crowd, but majority there was people that were connected and going, oh yeah, that's it, and it was a spirit. It was a spirit-filled deal, and so the time didn't even hardly feel that long.
No, I was surprised when I got home. It's
12:30 already. Man, I'm late for my nap.
Yeah, and I don't get no nap. I got to get up and come back.
That's right. Yeah.
We got our afternoon class.
Got to get your sandwich before school of ministry.
School of ministry starts. So.
Which has been like a kick in the face. I'm telling you, some of the things he's throwing down in that class.
He pistol whipping us again.
I think so. And kicking us while we're down.
I know it.
It's just so much reality.
Bunch of dirt bags.
That's right.
I tell you, what, man. Yeah, we're about useless, aren't we?
That's what I feel like. I'm like, man, we're so behind. Which I was talking to somebody that was in that class, and of course, somehow, some way, we always get into percentages, right?
Right.
Percentage of this. What do you think the percentage of that is? And it's like, I hate percentages, but it brings reality, really. And this person said, yeah, because I don't even remember what the question was. Like the percentage of people. I don't even remember what it was, but it was a negative thing.
Was it in our church?
Probably.
Percentage in there? Well, no, I'm going to quit on the percentages anymore. When he asks for a percentage, I was going to give him a number of people.
4 people.
4 people.
12 people.
You want the names?
That's right. Oh, pull out your phone. I got a list here.
I got a list here.
Here, I'll email them to you. I've been looking. I've been checking it out.
Yours on that one day was what, 2.5%?
Yeah.
You got half a person in there.
Well, that was that day, and this person was like, when you said 2.5%, I thought, no, because they said something like 60% or something like that, and we were like, we all kind of made fun of this person, and they were like, they told me later, yeah, I realized, man, because we started discussing it, obviously, and he was bringing us to that point where the real percentage wasn't too much more than 2.5%, but when we got to that point, they were like, this person was like, wow, I thought everything was going great. I thought, man, we were doing good. And I told him, I said, yeah, just when you think you're doing great, you probably need to get some reality.
Yeah, reality comes along and slap you up in the face.
That's right. Kick you in your no-no spot.
Yeah, that's for sure.
Because that's sometimes you feel when you get out of school of ministry. Because it's practical stuff. It's not just, we're not having theology class. It's things we're taking, biblical things we're taking to go, okay, we got to go do this. And in the midst of that, realizing the reality of how bad it is or how good it is or whatever.
That's what I said around. When I sat around, I was thinking about it because I know the Lord put that on me the last couple of days about the belief and everything. I mean, we're really terrible at this, and it's become more. You always hear about religion. Well, there's a lot of, I guess, religions out there, but we're not supposed to be religious.
Yeah.
But everybody refers to it as their religion. Was a belief system.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, this is life. It's truth. It's something.
It's a check mark for people.
It's reality. It's the truth, and it's real, and it's reality. And when we live in that, it's not something else. That's it. The world just happens to surround what we're supposed to be in, which is His kingdom.
Right.
And we're no longer members of this world, but members of His kingdom. But we don't live like it. Right. And we sure don't come down here on Sundays and appreciate Him that much for it.
No.
So, we got to do something. We got to shake this up. I don't know. Give me a stick. I'll straighten this place up.
There you go. Just walk in with a big stick and just start whacking people.
I get one of the little paddles like my mother had. Had one that had the ball on it like that,
Oh, yeah. I've seen those.
Yeah, she used to take the ball off of them when my son was little, and she used to give him the business with them. So. She had no problem with
it. My mom, she's had 5 boys. My mom's a petite lady, She got 5 big old boys. And one time she took a trip to Missouri, and she came back with a box of paddles. I mean, they were manufactured. They were 2-inch paddle, 2-inch thick paddles. I mean, they were perfect for what she needed. And there was a box. I want to say there's like 25 of them in this box. So she brings them back, and she's like, I brought these, take care of business. And I remember the first person that got in trouble was my brother Nick. And I forget what he did, but it was enough to where, okay, you're gonna get hit. So she went to go grab one of those paddles, and she reared back, and she hit him on his hind end, and the paddle split in two.
Ouch.
She grabbed another one. Boom. Same thing. And then my brother Nick started laughing. So she started getting more angry. Yeah. And then we all started laughing. And it just couldn't help it because because it was a serious moment. And then she takes the paddle and it just splits. So she went 3, 4, 5 of them. Finally, she went and got the one we were really scared of. And it was, those old thick Western belts. It's got the name on the back. And it was red. And it said Big Red on it. And it had a big old belt buckle on it. It had Big Red. And that's what we called it, Big Red. And she could swing that thing, that petite arm, just, take care of business. We stopped laughing after that. Because she was coming after all of us. That's another thing. Nobody gets whoopings anymore.
I don't know. We used to. When I was growing up, I got plenty of them. Deserved every one of them, too. That's bad. Well, like I said, my son, when he was little, should watch him. He'd be over there, and one day he got a smart idea to take that paddle and hide it. Ooh. And he acted up, and she went and said, "Where's my paddle at?" And she said, "I know you got my paddle, boy, because she always kept it one place."
And he knew where it was at.
So, yeah, he just thought. She walked in the kitchen, come back at her. She said, "I got more than one of these."
So did she go get the other one?
Yeah, she went got the other one and used it on her. She got her paddle back. So. Don't pay to hide them.
Gosh.
Crazy stuff.
So you were a bad kid, huh?
I got plenty of whippings. Plenty of whippings growing up. Needed them. Deserved them.
Did you think you deserved them at the time?
Yeah. I usually got caught doing something. There wasn't no mistaken identity here. I got caught. So.
Oh my gosh. The full name come out and all that. And...
Oh, yeah. Oh, first you got to go through I was in big trouble when she used James to start with, and my middle name. But first, she starts at the top of the list. I was number 6 on the list, and she goes through every one of their names before she gets to she's mad.
Now, were you the worst out of everybody, out of other siblings, or?
No.
No. You had somebody that was worse?
Huh?
Or somebody that was worse?
Yeah, I'd probably. Just a couple of them.
Regular oil.
Need oil change?
Actually, I do. I do bad.
Yeah, just a reminder there for you. People get your oil changed here.
3,000 to 6,000 miles.
That's right.
Check your ticket now. So, only at Valvoline.
I don't know.
I don't live there, but did you ever have to pick your own switch or anything, or go get your own belt?
No, my aunt used to make my cousins go do that. She'd make them do that. No, I got away for it for a little while. Mm-hmm. Was that I come in, I done something wrong. My mother was ironing. She said, "If I get to this iron, I'll give you a whipping." So I go in there and I thought about it a minute, and I thought, well, I'll get this over with. So I take it. Belt in there, and I said, "Here, go ahead and get it over with." She goes, "Oh no, that's all right." Like, come on, I got away with that about 3 or 4 times. Here, oh, that's all right. Then I went there one day, boy says, "I caught on to you."
It's over now.
It's over now. I got some whippings.
You had some made-up whippings too, huh? Those few that you didn't get.
Yeah.
Oh man, my mom, of course, my mom and dad were divorced, but my mom would be the one that spanked. My dad never spanked me. He was always the talker. He was always, now son, this is why it's wrong, things like that. And when I was in 4th grade, Mr. Thompson's class, South Hills Elementary School, somebody brought in those glass stink bombs. The liquid in there you just break. It smells horrific. And they brought it into class. Well, I broke it. I took one and broke it and then put it in the trash can. Well, a lot of people saw me, whatever. And so they told the teacher, and the teacher went to the principal. I went to the principal's office, and I'm sitting there crying. I'm just like, oh, I'm so busted. And at that time, my mom didn't have a car, so my dad had to pick me up. So he got up, they called my dad at work, and then he came and picked me up. So we're sitting there, and I got suspended for 3 days over it. And I'm like, oh. So the whole time my dad's taking me home, he's going, "Now, son, you got 3 days suspension." And, he's talking to me, and the whole time I'm going, man, my mom's going to beat me when I get home. Sure enough, I got in trouble pretty bad.
Oh, wow.
I was like, ugh. And it was more because I got suspended. That was, it wouldn't have been, and she told me later, it wasn't a big deal that I did it,
This is what, in 1st grade?
4th. Man, it was 4th.
You was a real terror in 4th grade, wasn't you? Come on.
Yeah.
Well, we all did things with kids.
Yeah. Well, maybe that's what we need to do in our churches is have a couple people outside with a paddle, and as they come in, pa! You can go in now. Pa! You can go in.
I know you did something
That's
bad
right.
this week.
That's right. Or like in the middle of the message or something, and they look like they ate a lemon or they're being a sourpuss or whatever. But okay, go into the office or whatever and have them leave. Have somebody pop them. Go back to class.
Yeah, it's like back when you get a speeding ticket. I haven't ever really gotten very many. There's 3 overall this year. Something like that. But
that's not bad.
Every time I got one, I thought, well, I deserved this for the other 10,000 times I didn't get caught.
That's right.
Oh, average is going to catch up with you eventually,
It's like, oh, man, it's going down.
Might as well pay it.
That's right. It's like, it could be worse.
Could be worse.
Could be getting locked up right now.
That's for sure.
So,
but anyway.
All right, well, let's wrap up this podcast here, and we will continue some more conversation on our next one. I want to remind everybody to search, subscribe, share, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Apple Podcast app, and Spreaker app. Hit us up, direct message, and also coffeewithphilandjim@gmail.com if you'd like to join a conversation, start a conversation, or like I said earlier, if you just want to tell us, hey, you're stupid and wrong, hey, we're cool with that. We want to come, we're going to have a conversation, we want to talk about it, and maybe not just talk about it, but get people thinking, and maybe get you out of your comfort zone a little bit, and get your head out of the sand. So, what you got for us?
Yeah, I think I thought about this, and I thought we hadn't done him in a while, and it's one of your favorites, so
no.
I thought I'll just run this
Tupac?
back by it. No, this here's one we've done before, and it's one of your favorites.
Okay.
So,
It's a good one to end on.
Roy and Dale. All right. Happy trails, ladies and gentlemen. This is Jimmy Nick.
This is Phil. Until next time.
Adios.